Well, see if we can do this priest. Then, first off, make sure you got your artifacts on. Do not increase gold drops. Do not start with a, or you can start with a kit or useful gear. It's actually useful for the priest because there's nothing really. I mean, we can do it without. Not a lot is going to change. You get a mace, which does 2d4. We can probably bump that up to something that does 2d6. But you really do not get anything with that money that you're given, the 561. If you choose to start with nothing, there's nothing really you can buy. The important thing is that we go for the dwarf. Now, the dwarf does have a penalty to dexterity. This is not good for a character that initially should be fighting with melee, because you don't have magic missile. You will not have an offensive spell for the first few character levels. The only thing that you can do is bonk people on the head. You could, in theory, go for Dunedain. That has a bonus as well. However, the dwarf only takes 120% of experience on the basis of what a human would need. Dunedain needs 180%. You also have resist blindness. This is incredibly useful as soon as you're able to cast, because you are a magic user that has P-blind built in. And you do get this digging bonus. And the digging bonus, coupled with the fact that you're going to be using maces, which are heavy weapons, means that you can dig granite from straight away. You have a penalty to intelligence. That doesn't really matter. It will matter even less later on when you're trying to use wands and staves. Bonus to wisdom. And you do have a pretty sensational hit die, number of hit points. Small penalty to stealth, which is not really a problem. As a whole, you do not get any of the additional trim bonuses that things like High Elves and Dunedain get, but this is the class to go to. You will, by the time you get to dungeon level 20, you will need to dig stone. There's another slot that you need for the Ring of Digging. The dwarf does that on its own. You will need P-blind that you do with the Helm of Seeing. The dwarf does that on its own, so you can have a Helm of Wisdom. This is the choice. And for the priest, we're going to go 5 points, 6 points of Constitution, 6 points of Strength, 8 points of Wisdom. As simple as that. The standard distribution for a character like that. Now, hasn't yet loaded my PRF. I don't think it has. User interface. Show map continuously. Base delay 10 milliseconds. It has loaded the PRF. So when you start, you have a ration of food and a torch. We do need the book for spells, but we need a weapon before anything else. Old school players do something, normally they will buy a stack of these flasks of oil, because they can be thrown. It doesn't show the amount of damage. I think it's like 3d4, and it's not bad. It's an early damaging spell, essentially, that you throw instead of casting. I don't really think that's necessary. You just need an appropriate weapon. Priests do get a penalty if they use bladed weapons. They can use either blunt weapons, or they can use weapons which are blessed by the gods. So if you're reading the description of an artifact and it says it's been blessed by the gods, then at that point you can use that weapon. We can afford the lead-filled mace, which does 3d4. If you know your Dungeons and Dragons dice, the number, 4d3, the higher the number of dice that you roll, the more the amount of damage tends to be in the middle of the range that you do. So if you're rolling 1d4, it's easier to roll the maximum. You'll have one chance in 4. If you roll 4 of them, it's very difficult to roll all fours. You tend to have your numbers spread. So we'll buy one of these, and we used up all of our money. Normally you start with a potion of cure serious wounds. We just need a potion of light wounds. The only reason why we need it is to identify the other ones just like it that we will find into the dungeon. We need a scroll of face door, a couple of wooden torches, a handful of rations of food. We'll eat one straight away, and down we go. Just like any other character, or at least any except the warrior, the scrolls of deep descent are really good. So if we find scrolls that are unidentified, which we will almost certainly do, we'll need to make sure that we have 250 gold before we sell it, because otherwise we wind up selling it and cannot buy it back. Another reason why dexterity is actually not... Ooh, so many teleport traps. Why dexterity is not really that important for a priest earlier on is because what it does is affects the blows table. It affects the number of attacks that you can do. Ooh, 2-7. Need to go very carefully now. It affects the number of attacks that you can do per round, but that number is 1. And it's not going to change from being 1 for a long time. I do not want to risk the brown snake, because the brown snake is a bit too hard for character level 1. Non-magical dagger, we can pick it up and sell it. And if it's going to stay... 5 hit points. Great. If it's going to stay at 1 attack, I might as well just use the biggest weapon that I can get. We got our prayers book, the basic one. Right, if I can only attack once per turn, there's no reason for me to use a dagger. I might as well use a big ass bonk. Eight hit points. Well, it's a D14, could have been better. Let's see if I can go around. Can I go around? Now, the priest does not choose its own spells. When you're a priest, based on your wisdom, every time you level up, you learn a certain number of spells. This is retroactive. Ring of damage. Oh, we found the ring of escaping. This is definitely the 7 on the level. It's fantastic. We'll keep it in the house for now. 2,000 gold kind of imbalances the run a bit, because you can get it, but it takes some time to get 2,000 gold. But it will facilitate for me, because when you play, you have the advantage that you can grind as much as you want for stuff, and I can't. So the priest does not choose its own spells. You use the Shift G option to get. These will probably throw them away or sell them. And that will randomly pick one of the spells that you can learn. Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, good thing we didn't sell it yet. Because that guy would have stolen 2/3 of it. essentially it's the same as browse. For example, I'm level 3, I can learn any of these 4 spells. If I use the get option 4 times, I will learn 4 of these, randomized. And that's not great, because we don't want that. Especially later on, because we'll have books with a lot of spells in them, and we will want some very specific ones, not the random ones. And the game doesn't have a way for us to choose what we get. And that means, see, for example, I would buy the Sling of Power. This is something that you do find on dungeon level 1. With a bit of luck, it really is not uncommon to find a Sling of Power. You know what? Yeah, let's do it. So the Ring of Escaping. Drop these pebbles, because they're actually only 1d2. Buy the Sling of Power. And buy these shots. They weigh a lot. 40 of them weigh 20 pounds, as much as a mole. That's another reason why the dwarf is generally pretty good, because of the it can carry more weight than like a human, for example. See what this is? Heroism, not bad earlier on, because you have such a poor hit die that if you're given anything else that boosts the roll for you to hit monsters, then that will make a noticeable difference. You know what? We're gonna need these anyway, so we'll go get them. For example, we need Portal. Absolutely, this is the teleport version, the priest version of the teleport spell, and we get a level 5. That means that we'll get to level 5, and then we will learn from this book. The game will not be able to pick Sanctuary, Satisfy Hunger, Remove Curse, or Resist Heat and Cold, because those are level 7. And ideally, we'll learn Portal not as the last of 4 spells. For the same reason, when we get to level 9, we want Orb Draining. That means that when we hit level 9, but before we hit level 11, we want to have 3 spells at least available. But in reality, now you should not be learning any spells whatsoever until you're about character level 9. And then you do the same thing when you hit level 11. And then you do the same thing when you hit level 13. Because Sense Surroundings is your map skill. Okay? Now, by level, the sooner the better you want to get mapping. And that means that by level 13, you may potentially need to learn all of these. Because let's say I hit level 9, okay? It can be one of these 3. And I'm lucky, and I get Orb Draining as the first one that I learn. Fantastic. The problem is that when I get to level 11, it will not pick from just these 3. It will pick from all these 6, minus the one that I've already learned. So the more you go further into the book, the more difficult it gets, and you do want mapping. It's not like at character level 13 you're going to dominate the game, but mapping is so incredibly useful. And this Sense Invisible spell actually lasts for a certain amount of time. It lasts for a few rounds, which is something that you do not see from the scrolls, for example. Oh, sorry. Let's do another thing. Let's get a ready for these scrolls, I recall, because we got spare money. And is there maybe a potion of speed here in the black market? No. These do a shitload of damage, so 35 compared to what I do with a hit, which is 10, is a lot. I still need to hit the monster, and that doesn't happen as often as you imagine it does when you're a priest. Your to-hit roll earlier on will be abysmal. It's really hard to hit monsters. Heroism, we'll pick it up. The first book has a very useful spell here, which is Call Light. Because you'll be down deep, you know, not super deep in the dungeon, but the first levels that you're down below, they're going to be, it's going to start being dark. And you need that more than anything else, because you have no other ways of seeing monsters. So, I'm already looking for the stairs. Because with a little bit of luck that we had, and you know, we need free action. Like, everyone needs free action, except gnomes. Gnomes are so stupidly overpowered. You can pick these up, flask of oil, as like a last ditch resort. You can throw them. And you try poison. This stack, they're worth 50 each. Another heroism. Probably some. Ooh, hello. These are maggots dogs, and they are the first uniques. And like my friend from the forums said, maggots dogs have more kills than Gothmog does, because that's where all the new players die. Completely forgot what I was saying. More food, more food. Let's eat one more. Pet balls. XP of any kind is welcome. Normal sling. We find so many of these that they stack as well, so. Magical pebbles. Magical pebbles are even are great. 43 damage, even higher than the basic ones that you buy from the shop. Whoops. Let me see if there's anything there. No. 2-4. This could well be free action. Whoops. Oh, and dwarves also have a little bit of infravision as well. Infravision is that if a monster is there, so they're in the darkness, you'll see them. And depending on how many you have, you generally have 1, 2, or 3 based on your race. It does allow you to see monsters a little bit earlier than anyone else. I'm not going until I found what the 4 is. Actually, this, well, I'll throw it out when I need to throw it out. So it's not like it's a massive bonus to have infravision, but, you know, it all adds up to the Dwarven Priest being by far the best choice that you have for Priest. If you're playing for Mage, a very reasonable choice is to go with Gnome. You do get less XP. Less hit points, sorry, not experience points. And that obviously is hard, because the Mage already is the one that has the smallest number of XP. Magical Sling, we'll sell it. Gloves of free action. Here we go. If I was a Mage, I would have identified straight away that they were free action, because they would not give me the penalty in spell points. That one, because of the hands needed during the casting of wizard spells. But for Priest, it doesn't work like that. They're piety-based spells, so you do not auto-identify it. But this guy paralyzes, and there you go, free action. You try to paralyze me, and I learned the rune. There are some items which are just really easy to identify earlier on. Now, if you're playing with a wizard, we're saying a gnome is a sensible choice. You get less hit points, which for a mage is bad, because that's already your problem. But as you've seen, if you know how to play a mage and you're careful, you shouldn't really be tanking shit. You know, you should not be using your hit points as a reserve, as something that you consume as you go along during the game, the way that a warrior does. Because for a warrior, they're very important, because you hit them at the same time they hit you, because you're in melee. We found stairs. We did find stairs. This is the mace that I bought from the shop. Digs granite in 62 turns. That is fantastic for a character that has nothing that actually does digging, just on its own. Gnomes have, however, free action built in. It's not that great of an advantage in itself, because, well, you know, free action is something that everyone gets, and you get it straight away. But they do have an intelligence bonus. They have the fact that they can identify wands and staves straight away, without needing to do anything about it. And if you're speedrunning the game, so if you're looking to go down as quickly as possible in the least amount of turns, then they are your choice, because you do not have to wait on dungeon level 1 to find any free action. And you do die a lot more when you speedrun, obviously, but it's kind of expected and almost accepted. 4d4, I'm just going to replace one with the other. And this technically does sell for, at least you buy for 500. Let's drop the flask of oil. But it does slow me down. I'm not that slow that it's not a drama yet. Not having light absolutely sucks. Oh, there's the stairs. The real obstacle for this character right now, let's see what these are. Serious wounds. We'll drink these slime mold juice, which are not needed. The first obstacle is going to be much later, when we start running into levels that are invaded by orcs, because you don't really have the mana to kill a whole bunch of orcs in one go, and they will rush you and they will kill you. Oh, we're level 9, so now we can learn from book B, and we want to learn Orbudrin, book C. And I learned the other spell, Neutralize Poison. Cure critical wounds. Third one is the charm, Orbudraining. We absolutely can cast these, because we need 126. Cast orb. Now we need 18. So the first levels are full of orcs, are going to be the ones that are difficult, but you don't need to fight them. You can just leave, use portal, and if you got a bit of money, recall. Where are we? Stairs, we're in dungeon level 8. You do have to watch out for the fact that you do not sustain strength. So a ring of strength earlier on is very useful. kind of boosts everything that you do, meaning it allows you to carry more, and you're already someone that can carry more stuff. Lantern, fantastic. I will keep these torches for the time being. I'll risk it if I find anything better. Just because the lantern is 75 turns, and that's not forever. If I had kept my, flasks of oil would have helped. A rod. Curing of light. It's money. We can drop this scroll. Read it. It might be deep descent. It's a scroll of light. And I did not learn Detectivo yet. I haven't learned anything at all. Level 10. Almost level 11. Just another 100 XP. Fortunately, we have this badass sling of power. A wand. Yes, please. Stun monsters. Doesn't do anything, but... shall we try this oily yellow potion? It could be a lose memories. Let's throw away the sling. We can fuel from the lantern on the ground. I can probably just throw away now the torches and take the empty lantern, because the lantern is worth 375, I think. Weapons are just the amount that they sell is just based on how much they weigh. The more they weigh, the more they sell for. Simple as that. Level 11. Sense invisible. Okay. I don't have portal yet, so I have 11 spells. And these are 3, 6, 8. Might burn them all trying to learn portal. Satisfy hunger is important as well, because it allows me to throw away food. Let's get some spells from this one, because I really want sense surroundings. And I can do without for the time being. Okay, so it's not lose memories. Lose memories are very rare. Boldness. Essentially, lose memories is the same as being attacked by by an undead and getting your XP drained. That's it. You can... Oh. Smeagol. We want to leave him. He can steal my money, and I have no way of killing him. Those initial dragons, they all do almost nothing in damage. Maybe the green one, because it gives you the damage over time from the poison. I keep forgetting we can actually melee stuff. And Worm Tongue, another one that can steal my stuff. This is worth some money. Why have I got these boots? Keep eating that food. Too much weight in food. a ring of slow digestion. At this stage, anything works. These are some nice arrows. You can use, if you're because you have the limitation that you cannot use swords. Sometimes I tell myself that we'll totally pick this one up. Let's see what cerulean is. Speed. We've blown our only potion of speed. Sometimes I tell myself that bows and arrows kind of are the same thing as edged weapons. In old Dungeons and Dragons, confusion. In old Dungeons and Dragons, it used to say you cannot use weapons that spill blood. And that's where it's derived from, that priests, you know, they can kill you, but not with a sword, because a sword is bad, but they can kill you with a mace. That's cool. God likes that. So, because of that, sometimes I have a... yeah, well, it's still 200 coins. I like to have fun, and my god, this guy. Now we're basically looking for stairs. Okay, I am going to try to get portal, scale monsters, sanctuary, remove curse, resist heat, chant, cure serious wounds. It's going to be the last, isn't it? Satisfy hunger and portal. Recall. So robe. Iron Elmo Wisdom. Yeah. Sell these 2 lanterns. So see, I've had to learn every single bloody spell from this list because I couldn't get the portal. I have 5 spells left for when I get to 13, I'm gonna get Sense Surroundings, and I'm going to get to Sense Surroundings now by casting all of these spells. Because every time you cast a spell for the right time, for the first time, it gives you some experience. Yeah, I can't cast Remove Curse. Okay, Sense of Blessing, Cure Mortal Wounds, Earthquake, and Sense Surroundings. Okay, at this point, we need... from A, we need Cure Light Wounds, Call Light, and ideally Detect Evil as well. Detect Evil, Cure Light Wounds, Call Light. Haha, perfect. Okay. Alright, thank you, game. You're cool once again. As I was saying, I like to cosplay priest full on and basically do not use bows or arrows, but you don't actually get any penalties if you do. But you do get penalties if you're not using if you're using the sword. And even not considering the 1900 or the 2000 that we got from the ring, there's a lot of money there in that short dive, just basically picking up junk. Let's go to my home, drop off these arrows. How many do I have? I can buy some more. I have too many basic books. Get one critical wound because cool too. And see what they have here. This for 800 is actually pretty good. Nothing wrong at all in buying the these we're going to get. It's 1,000, but they're 30 magical shots. Nothing wrong with buying for a very short time the Amulet of Regeneration until we get Amulet of Wisdom, because it does a lot more earlier on than later on. So Amulet of Regeneration, the Ring of Sword Digestion, don't need to buy any more bullets, about some more Scrolls of Recall, and then at this point, because we don't need the rest of the money, we just buy all those. Okay, sorry, you know what book did I steal? One of the basic ones. Let's go buy it back. Fuck it. Single orb. I'm gonna cast it like this, so it's nice and central. Goodbye. And orb is going to be, I have a keybind for it, obviously. Orb is going to be the thing that you'll use from now on. Everything dies to orb. Nothing resists orb. It doesn't do much damage, but it hits everything. So, longbow power. Or, you know, it could be a longbow of the Nazgul. We should be able to identify that, but just briefly wearing it. If it says you can feel your life being drained. Yeah, see invisible. It's draining your life. It will tick next round and remove some XP. Take it off straight away. It's kind of a cursed item. You can, if you want, keep it in your backpack and then just wear it the moment that you actually need to shoot, because the drain XP effect is very mild. I mean, it's still annoying and you don't really want to walk around it, but this is it's a poor copy of, we don't really need this, but we can sell it. It's a poor copy of what they used to be. So Nazgul weapons used to be abundant in the previous versions of the game, and I mean many years ago. And a lot of characters died because they saw they firing the weapon earlier on. They say it's got good bonuses. I can do an exploit here with these guys. And I'll do it because the last time we said that we could do it, but we didn't do it. I'm gonna leave them so they cannot follow me, but I'll show you what we did. Oh, I forgot to buy something very important, which is flasks of oil. However, I put myself, no, we need to go more up. This is a straight line, yeah? Okay, yeah, so these guys, these fruit flies, 3 XP each, and they're breeders. I have no idea what that ring is. Right? Get it? Ring of teleportation, yes please. And you just get here, do not cross the threshold, do not come here, and then just do this, whee, and look at my XP, and then you repeat. And because these monsters are completely useless, you can do this until you get bored, basically. The amount of XP that they're worth does go down as you climb in level. And there's another breeder, which is the You'll see it's white if you're playing with tiles. I forgot what it's called, but it's worth a lot more than this one. Not a lot, but it will carry on until the higher levels. For example, now they're worth 2.5, so it's going down. But this, you can easily do it for 5 minutes. Just do it for 5 minutes. Character level 20 with no risk whatsoever. And you only really need to watch out for that you run out of light. I mean, there's light in this room, so in a pinch, you can force yourself into that room and read a scroll recall. And also watch out that you have enough food. The warm mass, which is one of the breeders that doesn't breed quite as well as these do, is worth far more hit points, but they burn your inventory. So they burn your scrolls of recall. And that makes you die. Because you try to go back and you do not find enough torches or fuel or food, and you die of starvation or because the dungeon's gone dark. We did from 14 we went to 17 in not only no time but no risk at all. 18. Just do a few more, say 20. Priest doesn't get anything that's level specific aside from spells. The only thing that we're looking for really is more wisdom. Did we not buy? Oh my god, what a moron. So there was a Helm of Wisdom and I was packed. And I couldn't buy it because I couldn't put it in my inventory. I went to sell all the stuff and then I forgot to go back and buy it. That's just one of the problems that happens when you're trying to do this thing here. You're playing the game and at the same time you're talking about things that should be discussed face to face instead of through a video. But anyway, so 19. And this is going to take about 2 minutes from the speed at which it's sticking. Just about 2 minutes, then we can go down those stairs right there. We are looking for more mana. We just want more mana. More mana comes from more wisdom. More wisdom comes from Helm of Wisdom, Amulet of Wisdom. There is no Rings of Wisdom because obviously they must have discovered that it is way too overpowered to also give you that in ring form. Because for intelligence you get to wear 2 rings of intelligence if you want and 1 helm of intelligence. But then there's going to be the potions of contemplation, which are the priest version of the potion of intellect. Right? Okay, we're level 20. The more you go up in level, the more your 2-hit bonus goes up. There's money. Well, wear it, get it, sell it. Ring of protection. What does this do? Ring of the Dog. Ring of the Dog gives you -2 to stealth, but you do not suffer fear anymore. I do not need food anymore because I can make my own food. By the way, I've got some spells I did not cast. Did I cast all of these? How about in C? I have 1 keybind from Sense of Surroundings, and then I have another keybind for another form of map that I get later on. I used to switch them around, but I prefer to just have 2 of them. Once again, PC, Sense Invisible. You'll see that icon over there. It does last for a little while. And Earthquake, I'll show you in a minute, once we get to the stairs. And now that you can see the layout of the dungeon, it's just a lot easier to navigate, to go deeper, and feel relatively safe doing that. Identify which item. Identify the store, please. Store Slay Giants, thank you. Scrolls of Identify, they are quite useful because you'll be a long time before you can cast Identify. Earthquake does this. It breaks the dungeon around you. And this spell is actually useful. You will use it for a bit of a sad reason. And it is that if you're not playing as a dwarf, but you are a priest, and you find a vault, a lot of times you have no way to dig through stone. And worst comes to worse, you can line yourself up so that the last line, for example, you can see the effect came to here, right? Do it again, map again, and again it came to there. So this will always be exact. And you can line up yourself so that the white, impassable, permanent walls of the vault are there, and the one that you want to break is also there. And this will randomly change it between granite, whatever that stone is, and this is the lightest stone. So you do that, at that point you can dig it. You also, it is useful to have a Ring of Seeing visible despite having the spell. I don't need it because I'm careful, but you do need to be watching out for anything that might flash there, any changes to your stats, because otherwise you have no way of telling how. Let's throw away these iron shots, get this wand. At this point I can return, I can recall. And maybe go down one more level just to save some time. And there's gonna be a line of orcs. There you go. So time to recall. This can be sold. It's 13 points of armor, but then again it's £8. So that's not good. We'll learn what these staffs are. Staves is actually the plural. Thank you. And just money. We'll keep the Ring of Protection. It costs so little that we can throw it out if we don't want it. Portion of Provision is useless. Crystal, Bold and Nautical, 1500 coins. Not bad. Scroll Deep Descent. Roll Magic Mapping. We won't be needing this. Let's buy this Deep Descent. Let's buy some flasks of oil. Let's buy serious. Have I got any arrows? No. So 3 flasks of oil. One will use it straight away. Lamp's almost full. Get some more iron shots. Get a couple more recall. Why not? Better safe than sorry. Okay, we can get to, how long has this been going on? It doesn't actually tell me now. Yeah, nearly an hour. Just gonna keep doing this because there's not gonna be a lot of changes in this character. There's only going to be, what we said. We want to get a wisdom up, and there's gonna be a Helm of Wisdom over there, an amulet of wisdom over here. And then we need to get to level 20-ish, and we are going to be looking for potions of contemplation. And we follow the same rules as the other characters, meaning that we get potions, we bring them back, we identify them by selling, because we do not want to accidentally buy a potion that gives me dexterity and takes away maybe a point of my wisdom. So we want those. We have our free action. We got something to do a little bit of damage for the early monsters. Anything else, we'll just kill it with orb. And what's the fail rate here? It's 7 points of mana, which is not little, and fortunately 5% fail, which is very reasonable. 1821, it's 10.5 points, 10.5, so it doesn't average 40 points of damage, but it's also AoE. Or rather, it's an explosion. So it's an area effect, a spell, but it's not centered on you, it's centered on where you shoot it. Monsters are right at the explosion point, so on the tile take the full damage. The other ones do take quite a lot less, but still, it clears out big groups if you can target them in a way that hits many of them. We want to avoid any level that's got caves, because they have the little drops, they're more dangerous, you don't get anything as a payoff for taking on those levels. Just go back up the stairs and then back down again. That's it. Nothing really is going to change. We'll keep going on with this priest for a little while.